Education of India. Today, we have a very eminent person with us, Dr. Aradhna Michael, Madam. Madam is currently working as a principal in one of the oldest nursing college in Madhya Pradesh, Choitram College of Nursing, Indore. Madam has completed her BSc Nursing degree from CMC Ludhiana, Punjab, and Madam has completed her MSc Nursing and PhD in Nursing from Devi Ahilya Vishwavidyalaya, Indore. Madam has also done MBA in HR. Madam has done many publications in various national and international journals. I welcome you, Madam, in this webinar. So today, Madam will deal with the topic methods of data collection. As we know, all methods of data collection play a major role in whole research process. Methods of data collection means gathering the information by using some techniques, tools to solve the research problem. So without much wasting the time, I request Madam Aradhna Michael to continue.
Thank you, Dolly. Good afternoon, all. Hope I am visible and audible.
Yes, ma'am. Audible, ma'am. Audible, ma'am.
Okay, I am very thankful to Nursing Teachers Association for giving me this chance. So today we are going to discuss on the data collection. Data are the observable and measurable facts that provides information about the phenomenon under study. We have primary and secondary data. Data means piece of information. They are the facts which are observable and measurable and also provide information about the phenomena under study, like fact, situation, or question to assess. Now we will see the concepts. Data collection involves gathering relevant data in order to achieve an answer to the problem stated. There are various methods of data collection which can be used by the investigator depending upon the nature of study undertaken. In data collection, we are collecting data in a systematic way. It is the important stage of our research process. There are various methods of data collection we can choose. Now we will see the primary sources and secondary sources. In primary sources, observation, in observation participant, non-participant. An interview method, structured and unstructured. And in questionnaire, mail questionnaire, collective questionnaire. And in secondary sources, documents and different types of government publications, earlier researches, census, personal records, client histories, and services records. There are two types of data resources. One is primary and another is secondary sources. Primary data is first-hand information, which researcher collects himself through observation, interviews, or email. Secondary data which researcher collect from the previous research studies, from government publications, sciences, and other records. Now we will see the purposes of data collection. To obtain information, to keep on record, to make decisions about important issues, to pass information on to others. Data is meaningless as by itself it does not explain or cause change. Information does. Purpose of data collection is the process of gathering and measuring information on variables of interest in an established systematic fashion that enables one to answer stated research questions, pass information, make decision, and test hypotheses, and can be evaluate outcomes. Now we will see the 5 data collection, five W's of data collection. What data to be collected, from whom data is to be collected, who will collect data, from where the data will be collected, when is the data to be collected. These are the 5 W's of data collection. We have to see 5 W's while collecting the data. Who will collect the data? Me, myself, or I will need some assistance. My team will collect the data. Where will you collect the data? Year setting we have to see, and when we are starting data collection, timings also. The number of data to be collected will be depend on type of study, hypothesis to be tested, number of variables, type of statistical computation. In an experimental study, the number will also be determined by the number of experimental and control groups. One needs also to consider the method of administration, the nature of treatment, and the schedule. We can collect the data on various variables, but what data we need to collect depend upon type and design of the study, hypothesis, statistical test we will use to test hypothesis, and number of variables. It can be dependent and independent. Now we will see the quantitative versus qualitative data. Quantitative data are anything that can be expressed as a number or quantified. These data may be represented by ordinal, interval, or ratio scales and lend themselves to most statistical manipulation. Qualitative data is a categorical measurement expressed not in terms of numbers, but rather by means of natural language description. Quantitative data are used when a researcher is trying to quantify a problem or address the what or how many aspects of a research questions. This data that can either be counted or compared on a numerical scale. In example, it could be the number of first-year students at nursing college, or the rating scale on a scale of 1 to 4 of the quality of food served at CAF. These data are usually gathered using instruments such as questionnaires, which includes a rating scale or a thermometer to collect weather data. Statistical analysis software such as SPSS is often used to analyze quantitative data. In qualitative data, we can see it is described qualities or characteristics. It is collected using questionnaires, interviews, or observation, and frequently appears in narrative form. Example, it could be notes taken during a focus group on the quality of the food at CAF or responses from an open-ended questionnaire. Qualitative data may be difficult to precisely measure and analyze. The data may be in the form of descriptive words that can be examined for pattern or meaning, sometimes through the use of coding. Coding allows the researcher to categorize qualitative data to identify themes that correspond with the research questions and to perform qualitative analysis. Now we will see the uses, quantitative and qualitative data. In quantitative data, we can use experiment study, clinical trials, observing and recording well-defined events, obtaining relevant data from management information systems, survey kind with close-ended questions, face-to-face and telephonic interview, and questionnaires. And in qualitative, in-depth interview we can take, observation methods we can use, and document review means historical data. Methods of data collection. Where do data come from? Primary data and secondary data. A researcher, as per requirement of a study, may decide on use of primary data or secondary data or both. Both primary and secondary data have their own pros and cons. We will see the primary and secondary data. Primary data are collected by the researcher itself, and secondary data collected by someone else and have already been passed through the statistical process. A researcher, as per requirement of a study, may decide on use of primary data or secondary data. Now we will see the primary data. What is primary data? Data that has been collected from first-hand experiences is known as primary data. Primary data are usually collected from the source where the data originally originates from and are regarded as the best kind of data in research. In primary data has been published yet and is more reliable, authentic, and objective. Primary data is a type of data that is collected by our researchers directly from main sources through interviews, surveys, experiments. Example, let's say a research team wants to find out about workers' experiences in return to work after work-related injuries. Part of the research may involve interviewing workers by telephone about how long they were off work and about their experiences with the return to work process. The workers' answers, considered primary data, will provide the researchers with specific information about the return to work process. They may learn about the frequency of work accommodation offers and the reason some workers refuse such offers also. Primary data are collected by several methods. First, observation method, second, interview method, third, questionnaire, fourth, schedule, and fifth, other methods such as warranty cards, projective technique, consumer panel, etc. Now we'll see detail one by one. First, observation method. Observation is a systematic data collection approach. Researchers use all of their senses to examine people in natural setting or naturally occurring situations. The researchers goes into place and observe the condition in their natural state. In observation method, as a name implies, in a way of collecting data through observing. Observation data collection method is classified as a participatory study because the researcher has to immerse herself in the setting where her respondents are while taking notes or recording. Observation is helpful when direct information, ongoing behavior, physical evidences, products provide alternative. Need direct information, trying to understand ongoing behavior. There is physical evidences, products or outputs that can be observed by researcher. Need to provide alternative when other data collection is infeasible or inappropriate. Types of observation. We have 4 types of observation: participatory and non-participatory, structured and unstructured, controlled and uncontrolled, distinguished versus undistinguished observations. Other observation methods are personal observation, mechanical observation, audit, content analysis, and trace analysis. In participatory and non-participatory, the participant observation means watching the events or situation or activities from inside by taking part in the group to be observed. And when the observer observes the group passively from a distance without participating in the group activities, that is non-participatory. Then structured, semi-structured and unstructured. In structured or systematic observation, data collection is conducted using specific variables and according to the predefined schedule. And in unstructured observation, on the other hand, is conducted in an open and free manner, in a sense that there would be no predetermined variable or objectives. In control and uncontrolled, in control, the researcher decides where the observation will take place, at what time, with which participants, in what circumstances, and uses standardized procedures. In uncontrolled technique involves studying the spontaneous behavior of participants in natural surroundings. In distinguished participant observation, the researcher pretend to be members of the social group they are observing and conceive their true identity as researcher. In a part of the group they are studying, and they disclose their true identity as researchers to the group under investigations. Other observation method: personal mechanical observation, audit, content analysis, and trace analysis. Personal observation. A researcher observes actual behavior as it occurs. The observer does not attempt to manipulate the phenomenon being observed, but merely records what takes place. The method is also very accurate given that the researcher collects the information personally, obtaining even the minor details that could not be obtained otherwise. The method is, however, ineffective in some aspects, such as bias generation, that is basically personal. The personal bias is said to cause the influence on the data accuracy. The investigator is required to be honest with his or her findings. The observer does not attempt to manipulate the phenomenon being observed, but merely records what takes place. For example, a researcher might record traffic counts and observe traffic flow in a department store. Next, we will see mechanical observation. In this, do not require respondents' direct participation. Turnstiles that record the number of people entering or leaving a building, on-site cameras, still motion pictures or video, optical scanners in supermarkets. In mechanical, as the name suggests, it involves using various types of machines to collect the data, which is then interpreted by a researcher. Examples include the motion pictures or video camera and audiometer, the psychogalvanometer, eye cameras, and the pupillometer. None of these would be used without the knowledge and permission of the respondent. Again, mechanical observation, but in this do require respondent involvement. In this, eye tracking monitors to see the changes in pupil size, voice pitch analyzers to measure emotional reactions of the individual by change in voice pitch, and device measuring responses latency. Next, we will see the audit. Audit is a way of finding out if health professionals are doing what they should be doing. Are we following guidelines, and are we using best practices? Data are collected personally by the researcher in audit. The data are based upon counts, usually of physical objects. Number of products dispatched from inventory, We can see number of undesired events happen in plant. It is a physical recording and reporting by human observer. Then we will see the content analysis. Content analysis is a systematic, quantitative approach to analyzing the content or meaning of communicative messages. Content analysis is a descriptive approach to communicate. Hello,
Hello, yes, ma'am.
I'm audible?
Yeah, audible, ma'am.
Okay. So in content analysis, research tool used to determine the presence of certain words, themes, or concepts within some given qualitative data. Research can analyze texts of various types, including writing, images, recordings, and cultural effects. Now we will see the trace analysis. Trace analysis.
Ma'am, any problem is arising? Ma'am, mute. You are mute, ma'am. Please unmute, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
So in trace analysis, is usually analytical method used to detect and or quantify trace of substances in very small amounts. Data collection is based on physical traces or evidence of past behavior. In the trace analysis, researchers trace the event. Example, the number of different fingerprints on a page was used to gauge the readership of various advertisements in a magazine. The position of the radio dials in cars brought in for service was used to estimate share of listening audience of various radio stations. Now we will see the advantages and disadvantages of the observation. Advantages: common and the simplest method, basis of formulating hypothesis, accuracy of data, reliable data, subjective bias eliminated, researcher gets current information independent of respondents. It is most common and the simplest method of data collection. It does not require much technical knowledge. By observing a phenomenon continuously, the researcher may get well acquainted with the observed. He came to know about their habits, likes, dislikes, problems, perceptions, different activities, and so many other things. All these help him a lot to form a hypothesis on them. Observation: the observer can directly check the accuracy from the observed. He can apply various devices to test the reliability of their behavior. So very often the data collected through observation is more reliable than these collected through interview or questionnaire. Participants are less likely to be aware that they are being observed, which means that they will react in a more genuine way. Researcher gets current information. So these are the advantages of observation. Now we will see the disadvantages. Expensive, time consuming, limited informations, personal bias, unforeseen factors may influence observation. Expenses: observation is costly affair. It requires high cost, plenty of time and hard efforts. Time consuming: observation is time taking process. Some people do not have or required skills to provide important information to the researchers. Limited information, participants don't know that they are being observed. It raises ethical issues as they have not given informed consent. The personal bias, personal views, or looking at things in a particular way often creates obstacle for making valid generalization. The observer may have his own ideas of right and wrong, or he may have different preconceptions regarding an event, which kills the objectivity in social research. Sometimes unpredicted factors can be influenced in observation. Some of the data that would be collected wouldn't be useful towards the researcher also. Second, interview. A research interview involves an interviewer who coordinates the process of the conversation and asks questions, and an interviewee who responds to those questions. Interviewing involves asking questions and getting awareness answers from participants in a study. It contains a set of questions which are asked, and then the columns are filled in by an interviewer in a face-to-face situation. Next, we will see the skill of interviewer. The main game is interviewing is to facilitate an interviewee's ability to answer. This involves easing respondents into the interview, asking strategic questions, prompting and probing appropriately, keeping it moving, winding it down when the time is right. Know your strengths and weaknesses, the environment counts, be an engaged listener, don't interrupt unless you must. No double-barrel questions. These are the tips of skill of interviewer. Type of interviewer. Type of interviews, we will see structured and unstructured interview, focused interview, clinical interview, and depth interview. And first, in structured or directive interview, this is an interview made with a detailed standardized schedule. The same questions are put to all the respondents and in the same order. Each question is asked in the same way in each interviews. These type of interviews used for large scale formalized survey. The interviewer asked each respondent the same series of questions. The questions are created prior to the interview and often have a limited set of response category. The interviewer plays a neutral role and the act casual and friendly, but does not insert his or her opinion in the interview. Self-administered questionnaires are a type of structured interview. Then unstructured or non-directive interview. Unstructured interview, also called non-directive interview, refers to an interview concepts without any set format in which questions are not predetermined, so the lack of a structure enables the interviewer to ask questions which come to his or her mind on the spot. The interviewer encourages the respondent to talk freely about a given topic with a minimum of prompting or guidance. In this type of interview, a detailed pre-planned schedule is not used. Only a broad interview guide is used. Non-directive interviews are unconstructed and flexible and include more conversation than a standard interview. They do not rarely on an interviewer having prepared a list of questions in advance. This format allows the candidates to talk about his or her choice of subjects. The most common non-directive question is, tell me about yourself. Keys the interview broad and general. The interview about channeling the interview directions. The interviewing is more useful in case studies rather than in surveys. Then focused interview. In focus group, interview is a qualitative approach where a group of respondents are interviewed together, used to gain in a depth understanding of social issues. The method aims to obtain data from a purposely selected group of individuals rather than from a statistically representative sample of a broader population. In focused interview, on the subjective experiences of the respondent, his attitude we can see, and emotional responses regarding the situation under the study. Focused in semi-structured interview, brief outline of method. This technique is used to collect the qualitative data by setting up a situation that allows the respondent the time and scope to talk about their opinions on a particular subject. It is best used where you won't get more than one chance to interview someone, and when you will be sending several interviewers out into the field to collect data. Next, we will see the clinical interview. A clinical interview is a conversation between psychologist and client that is intended to help the psychologist diagnose and treat the patient. It involves counselors asking individuals questions to gather pertinent information. The effectiveness of clinical interviewing is more dependent on counselors' communication skills than our more formal assessment technique. In interview, therapists attempt to help individuals feel comfortable so that candid and relevant information is revealed. Clinical interview occurs throughout the counseling process, but it is typically a major component of the initial session. They use open-ended questions that allow clients to elaborate on their thoughts and feelings and answer questions in their own words. An example of a close-ended question is, do you drink alcohol? Whereas an open-ended question might be, why don't you tell me about your drinking? Next, we will see the depth interview. This is an intensive and searching interview aiming at studying the respondent opinion, emotions, or convictions on the basis of an interview guides. This is generally a lengthy procedure designed to encourage free expression of his or her feeling, emotions, his knowledge about particular area of study. In-depth interviewing is a qualitative research technique that involves conducting intensive individual interview with a small number of respondents to explore their perspective on a particular idea, program, or situation. A qualitative data collection method in-depth interview offers the opportunity to capture rich, descriptive data about how people think and behave and unfolding complex processes. Next, we will see the advantages and disadvantages of interview method. Advantages are, the interview is more appropriate for complex situation. It is useful for collecting in-depth information. Information can be supplemented. Questions can be explained and flexible. Interviewing has a wider application. It provides flexibility to the interviewers. The interviewer can judge the non-verbal behavior also of the respondent. The interviewer can decide the place for an interview in a private and silent place. Then, disadvantages of interview method. Interviewing is a time-consuming and expensive. The quality of data depends upon the quality of the interviewer. The quality of the data may vary when many interviewers are used. The researcher may introduce his or her bias. Conducting interview studies can be very costly as well as very time consuming. An interview can cause biasness. Interview studies provide less anonymity, which is a big concern for many respondents. Recordings error can be there, concisely making errors in recording, errors made by altering the questionnaires through changing some words or omitting certain questions also. Now we will see the third questionnaires. A questionnaire is a research instrument consisting of a series of questions for the purpose of gathering information from respondents. Questionnaires provide a relatively cheap, quick, and efficient way of obtaining large amounts of information from a large sample of people. In questionnaire methods, distributed by post can be posted to the target group, and a letter can be chosen to answer whenever it is most convenient for them. Email acts as another delivery channel and can reduce cost even further. We will see questionnaire method, what steps we should follow in questionnaire construction. Perception, preparation, constructing the first draft, self-evaluation, then by external evaluation means somebody else will evaluate, then again it will be in revision, then pre-test or pilot study of questionnaire we have to use before administering the questionnaire, then again revision of the pilot study, then second pre-test if necessary. It is not compulsory, but if necessary, then we can take pre-test second also, then preparing final copy. So this is the steps in question construction. Then essential of a good questionnaire. Brief and limited questionnaire. The number of questions in a schedule should be in brief and limited as possible. Only relevant questions to be problem under the investigation should be added. Simple and clear. The question should be simple, clear, and precise. Its language should be very simple so that informants may easily understand. Then unambiguous questions. All unambiguous questions should be avoided at all. Complicated and long-worded questions irritate the respondents, which results in careless in replies. No personal questions. No personal question should be asked from respondents. Such question should be avoided. Use of proper words. Question should be framed with right words. This ensures the validity of the questionnaire. Then avoidance of calculations. Questions should not be based on calculations. Only those questions should be asked which the respondents may reply immediately. Moreover, questions should avoid memories. Only objective questions. The question should be objective. It should be based on opinion of the individuals. Then sequence of the questions. The arrangement of the question should be such so that no question may slip back. It must involve a logical flow of questions. Then pre-testing. Before sending the questionnaire to the respondents, it must be properly tested. Instructions. Precise and simple instructions of filling the questionnaire should be added in the footnote. Cross-examination. Secret information. Cross-examination. The questionnaire should be set in such a way that there may be cross-examination of the information supplied by the informants. In fact, it is a check on false or inaccurate answers. Secret information. Every respondent should be ensured that information given by them shall be kept secret. Then, alternative questionnaire. Attractive questionnaire. Proper care should be taken to make the questionnaire attractive. A well-set questionnaire will certainly impress the recipient. Next, we will see the types of questions. Factual questions, normally related to respondents' ages, education, library experiences, membership in professional organizations, or any other relevant personal data needed in the study. It is factual question. In opinion and attitude question, when the purpose of the survey is to obtain information about respondents' beliefs, feelings, values, and related concepts. Opinion and attitude questions can be used in this. Then self-perception questions. These questions is about the self-perceptions of the respondents in a given topic or area. Standard of action question. In some types of surveys, investigators might attempt to determine how respondents will act in certain circumstances or subjects feel about a new development or forthcoming event. Then last, projective questions. At times, questions are used that allow respondents to answer inquiries in an indirect manner by imposing their personal feelings, attitudes, or beliefs on other person or group of persons. Two major classification of questions. We can see unstructured and structured. In unstructured, allow respondent to reply freely without having to select one of several provided responses. And in restructured, it specifies the respondent's answer in a several provided option in a question. Next, we will see the advantages of questionnaires. Inexpensive. Questionnaire cost efficient. Questionnaires are one of the most affordable ways to gather quantitative data. Questionnaires are practical. Apart from being inexpensive, questionnaires are also a practical way to gather data. They can be targeted to group of your choosing and managed in various ways. They can be used in a wide variety of ways. Example, KBC group learned just how practical surveys are. They were able to spread these quizzes, polls, questionnaires during a 3 days events. This made collecting real-time feedback almost effortlessly. Third, questionnaire offer a quick way to get results, fast results. It's quick and easy to collect results with online and mobile tools. This means that we can gain insights in as little as 24 hours or less, depending on the scale and reach of our questionnaire. Then scalability. Questionnaires are surveys also allow us to gather information from a large audience. Online, we can literally distribute your questions to anyone, anywhere in the world. They means that for a relatively low cost, we can target a city or a country also. Comparability. When data has been quantified, it can be used to compare and contrast other research and may be used to measure changes. This makes monthly or yearly questionnaire more and more valuable over time. Then easy analysis. Most survey and questionnaire providers are quantitative in nature and allow easy analysis of results. With built-in tools, it is easy to analyze your results without a background in statistics or scientific research. Questionnaires offer actionable data. The more data we gather, the clearer the painting becomes. Analyzing the data and building reports can be used to generate predictions and even create benchmarks for follow-up questions or questionnaires. We don't need any additional statistical software. Then respondent anonymity. Questionnaire anonymity, online and email surveys allow respondents to maintain their anonymity. Mail-in questionnaires also allow the complete invisibility, which maximize comfort for those answering. Digital questionnaires give the best sense of anonymity and privacy. Questionnaires don't have time constraint, no pressure. When using mail-in, online or email questionnaires, there is no time limit and there is no one on the other end waiting for an answer. Respondents can take their time to complete the questionnaires at their own leisure. Last, questionnaires can cover every aspect of a topic. One of the biggest advantages is being able to ask as many questions as we like. Of course, it benefits the researcher to keep each individual questionnaire short, since respondents may find a long questionnaire frustrating. We can suggest a limit of 10 questions for online surveys. Then we will see the disadvantages of questionnaire. Questionnaires can be used only for educated people. Sometimes different respondents interpreted questions differently. Questionnaires do not provide an opportunity to collect additional information. Researchers are not sure whether the person to whom the questionnaire was mailed has himself answered the question. Many questions remain unanswered. The respondent can consult other persons before filling in the questionnaires. These are the disadvantages of questionnaire. Now we will see the way of administering the questionnaire. Collective administration. One of the best administering a questionnaire is to find a confined audience, such as students in classroom, people attending a function, then administration in public places. Sometimes we can administer a questionnaire in a public place, such as a shopping center, health center, hospital, school. It's depend upon the type of study population. The mailed questionnaire, the most common approach to collecting information is to send the questionnaire to prospective respondents by email. Then we will see the schedule method. In case informants are largely uneducated and data cannot be collected by the mailed questionnaire method, questionnaires are sent through the enumerators to collect information. Enumerator explains the scope and objective to respondent and get the data, whatever we want. A schedule is a structure of a set of questions on a given topic, which are asked by the interviewer or investigator personally. The investigator can explain the questions. If the respondent faces any difficulty, it contains direct questions as well as questions in tabular form. Next, we will see the questionnaire versus schedule method. In questionnaire, we can mail filled by respondent. It is economical, non-response high, time consuming, literate, cooperative respondent should be there. Success depends on quality of questionnaire. And in schedule, direct contact filled by researcher or enumerator, it is expensive, non-response low, time bound, no such precondition. Success depends on quality of enumerator. Then other methods we will see the for data collection is warranty card, distributor or stock audits, projective techniques. In warranty card, to collect information regarding their products from customers. Distributor or store audit, distributor get the retail stores audited through salesmen and use such information to estimate market sizes, market shares, seasonal purchasing pattern through observation. Projective technique is these techniques allow researcher to tap into consumer deep motivations, benefits, attitudes, and values. While direct questioning works well most of the time, sometimes researchers want to investigate consumers' deeply value and beliefs. Next, we will see the historical research. One type of qualitative research is historical research, which involves examining past events to draw conclusions and make predictions about the future. The steps in historical research are formulate an idea, formulate a plan, gather data, and analyze the sources of data. These consist of documents and various historical sources on which the historian himself assesses. In this material of cultural history and analytical history, personal sources of authentic observation and witnesses, these can be oral written evidence. Now we will see the secondary data. What is secondary data? Secondary data refers to data that is collected by someone other than the user itself. It is the data that is collected from the primary sources which can be used in the current research study. Collecting secondary data takes considerably less time than collecting primary data. While collecting secondary data, one has to follow legal procedures required and maintain the academic ethics. Secondary data, someone else collected. Examples: county health departments, vital statistics of birth, death certificates, hospital, clinic, school nurse records, private and foundation databases, city and county government, surveillance data from state government programs. Secondary data limitations. When was it collected? For how long? Secondary data can be general and vague and may not really help companies with decision making. The information and data may not be accurate. The data may be old or out of date also. The sample used to generate the secondary data may be small. The company or institution publishing the data may not be reputable. Secondary data advantages. Now we will see the advantages of secondary data. It is economical. It saves efforts and expenses. It is time saving. It helps to make primary data collection more specific, since with the help of secondary data, we are able to make out what are the gaps and deficiencies, and what secondary data we are able to make out gaps, deficiency, additional informations need to be collected. It helps to improve the understanding of the problem also. It provides a basis for comparison for the data that is collected by a researcher. It may be very accurate, like government data that are funded by large resources. Feasibility of both longitudinal and international comparative study can be done. And selection of appropriate method for data collection. Nature, scope and objective of study, availability of fund, time factor, precision required. How would we collect appropriate method for data collection? It depends upon nature, scope and objective of inquiry. Includes choice of a particular method. The method selected should be such that it suits the type of inquiry that is to be conducted by the researcher. Availability of funds means finance, in fact, it is a big constraint in practice, and the researcher has to act within these limitations. In time factor, availability of time has also been taken into account in deciding a particular method of data collection. Some methods take relatively more time, whereas with others, the data can be collected in a comparatively shorter duration. In precision required is yet another important factor to be considered at the time of selecting the method of collection of data. Next, we will see precautions. What precautions should be taken during data collection? Relevant to the research problem, formal or standardized research tool can be subjective to statistical treatment, easily minimum measurement error, tenable for the verification of the hypothesis, collected through objective procedure, accurate and precise, reliable and valid, complete and comprehensive. The data must be relevant to the research problem. It should be collected through formal or standardized research tool. The data should be such as these can be subjected to statistical treatment easily. The data should have minimum measurement errors. The data must be tenable for the verification of the hypothesis. The data should be collected through objective procedures. The data should be accurate and precise. The data should be reliable and valid. The data should be complete in itself and also comprehension in nature. Thank you very much. I hope everybody understood my lecture. Am I audible?
Thank you so much, madam, for the wonderful presentation. So,
I hope everybody understood.
yes, yes, yes. Ma'am, we have certain questions in our blog. First question is, who may be the enumerators of questionnaires?
We can take anybody for enumerator. We can take our colleague.
Okay. Okay, thanks for the answer. Next, can qualitative sampling and data collection be developed from research questions derived from quantitative data?
Yes, we can use both methods, quantitative as well as qualitative from question. Only in qualitative data, we have to do some statistical different methods. We have to do coding also for qualitative data.
One more question. Factual questions are about the socio-demographic.
Yeah. It is mainly for personal data like age, how many years of work we have completed, these type of personal data, income.
Okay. Thank you so much, madam, for answering the questions.
I hope everybody understood.
Definitely, ma'am.
Thank you.
So I hope all have benefited from this webinar. Thanks to all participants for listening and watching this presentation. And lastly, I would like to thank the backbone of the Nursing Teacher Association of India, a very humble person and a very talented person, none other than Dr. Farooq Khan and his team member, Mr. Manish Kumar and Mrs. Poonam Thakur for arranging this web series. And lastly, I thank you all.
I want to give thank you to Dolly also. Smart girl.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you.